Excuse me. Good afternoon, everybody. Good to see you all. Good to see some old friends and make some new friends here today. Thank you for the very gracious introduction. So as mentioned, I'm Ben Mead, and I'm the founder and CEO of IBA Botanicals and its wholly owned subsidiary, United Agarwood Planters. IBA Botanicals is a company that I founded in 2018, and we've been the pioneer of the introduction of these ingredients to the flavor and fragrance industry. So what that means is we work with Philippines botanicals. We establish the plantations, whether that's forestry plantation or agricultural plantations. We process the botanicals, we take the extracts, and then we primarily export to Europe and also US. We do supply some locally, but most of the market is offshore. We positioned the company, so the parent company, IBA Botanicals, to really focus on premium quality, premium practices, and premium pricing in the market. So we want the Philippines botanicals to be known for absolute best practice in the global markets. Today I'm here to talk about Agarwood. IBA Botanicals is the first company to get the licenses from DNR to do legal Agarwood plantations in the Philippines. We are not the only company today. There are others who have followed, but we continue to be a leader in the sector. There's a little bit of Agarwood hype at the moment. Everybody is excited about Agarwood. They all want to plant Agarwood. There's a lot of misinformation, and what we try and do is take a very active and visible role in the industry to try and cut through some of the misinformation so that people have reasonable expectations when it comes to planting Agarwood. Yes, it's a very exciting opportunity for the Philippines, but it's really important to understand that it needs to be done in a very structured, disciplined manner, and the expectations should be set accordingly. And so today I plan to talk about what we've been doing with Agarwood, talk a little bit about the opportunity for the Philippines, and also talk a little bit about some of the misconceptions and misinformation, because there's a lot of misinformation that's floating around, and so we'll discuss that a little more in the presentation. This photo here, this is in Bukidnon. So we have planted now in Bukidnon around about 125 hectares. It's in Talakag, and we're opening another 200 hectares of plantation now. It grows very, very well in Bukidnon, but we have plantations in 20 provinces of the Philippines. So there's opportunities to plant Agarwood in a diverse range of locations. We like Bukidnon because the weather is very forgiving, soil is very good, and also our chairman is from Bukidnon, and so it makes sense for us. Interestingly, my chairman, Cito Lorenzo, is also Russell's chairman in Rhizome, so there's a little fun fact for everybody here today. So. So as I mentioned, I'm Ben Mead, I'm the founder and CEO. We now have around 700 employees in the company, and for me this is as much a passion project as it is for profit. Very well supported with mentorship, guidance and friendship from Cito, and so Cito has been with us since 2021. He approached us after we got the license for the Agarwood. And as he learned more about what we're doing, he got very excited and asked to join the company. So he today is a shareholder and the chairman. Former DA secretary, for those of you who don't know Cito. We also work with very strong technical partners. So we have a PhD on staff who's based in Malaysia, Dr. Monteng. And so she guides us in absolute best practices for our technical expertise. I see the guys from DNR smiling here. So, and Attorney Tess. So, Attorney Tess has retired from DNR. She used to be with the Wildlife Resources Division at DNR Biodiversity Management Bureau, and so she's now in private practice, and she's assisting us navigate the legalities on the Agarwood. So we really try and bring the best people that we can to make sure we mitigate risk at every step of the business. So locally known as Lapni San, or internationally Agarwood or Oud, this is the highest value agroforestry products. So it's a resin that forms within the Aquilaria genus of trees. There's a number of species that are cultivated for agarwood. It reaches very high value because of its scarcity. In the wild, it's a critically endangered species, so you're not allowed to harvest agarwood in the wild. Agarwood grows in the wild in the Philippines, and today there is still illegal trade in agarwood. We see it in the news quite often. People are apprehended having cut and trying to smuggle agarwood. The agarwood from the Philippines wild is known for its absolute premium quality. And so for some, it's just too tempting to try and chase those quick riches. In the wild, at the most extreme cases, the agarwood can be worth $100,000 per kilo. So this is something that happens, but it's not something that this number tends to dazzle people. They hear about agarwood, they think that we'll turn around, we'll plant this, we'll close our eyes, and then 7 years later, I'll sell the agarwood for $100,000 per kilo. Don't get too transfixed on this number, but it gives you a sense for the potential. The market for agarwood is really huge and continuing to grow. So there's three primary markets. The largest is in the Middle East, and the use of agarwood is burned like an incense. So this is a part of their culture. It's a part of their identity. And so as incomes continue to rise in the Middle East, people want to buy more and more agarwood. They want to buy better quality agarwood. And also certainly the supply is not keeping up with the demand, and that's why we see these very high prices. There's also a growing market, a large and growing market for agarwood as a perfume ingredient. So if you go into Rustans, you can ask them, show me a perfume that has oud, O-U-D. That's agarwood. And it's a very popular ingredient today. So most of the fine fragrance brands today have an agarwood variant. This is predominantly our market today. So all of our other botanicals are going into this industry. I'll show you here, give you a sense of plantation agarwood around Asia. So agarwood is a tropical tree that grows in South Asia. So it grows from India right across to Indonesia and Papua New Guinea. So some of these numbers are a couple of years out of date, but it give you a sense. So India has a very large plantation agarwood stand. The Indian government doesn't allow the export of plantation agarwood from India. It has to be consumed inside of India. They won't, as a policy, they won't issue a CITES for export of Indian agarwood because there is already a very large domestic demand within India. Followed by Thailand, that's been very successful in establishing plantations. Laos. A lot of these countries have been working with agarwood for a decade or longer. As I mentioned, agarwood became restricted for trade in 1995. So some of these countries moved faster than others in establishing the legal framework for legal plantation production. Unfortunately, the Philippines is perhaps the most recent or the last to sort of get the framework in place for agarwood production, and that's why you see a small number for the Philippines, a small number but growing. What the opportunity is, though, is that we can learn from a lot of these other countries, lessons learned on how to make sure that people are planting agarwood are successful, because there's a long history of people getting excited about agarwood, planting it without really understanding how to close the loop on the investment. Yes, I can grow it. Yes, I can get the permits, but can I unlock the value? Can I produce a resin of a quality that has a buyer, and can I access the market? And that is actually the hardest part. United Agarwood Planters and IBA Botanicals, recognizing the challenges in producing agarwood successfully. I'm not talking about growing agarwood. It's easy to grow. It'll grow just about anywhere. You grow it on the beach here in Subic if you want to. It'll grow. but unlocking the value, creating that resin, artificially stimulating the tree to produce a quality that has the buyer, and then accessing the market is challenging. And so this is why we take a very visible, vocal, and active role in what we do. We provide, for people who want to plant Agarwood, we know people want to plant, we know the demand is there, so the strategy that I've adopted is teach people how to grow the same way that we grow, give them the same tools, transfer the technology so that we can all produce at a similar high quality, and in the market we can command a higher price because we have a stronger negotiating power because we have this consistent high quality Agarwood. And so what that means is that we support people who want to plant Agarwood. If people want to plant, if they have their own land, we can assist them with everything from sourcing the seedlings to the permits to the agroforestry practices to the inoculation, everything. It's a whole life cycle approach. And so it's a very hands-on and integrated approach. We also have a managed plantation in Bukidnon. So if people want to plant Agarwood but don't have the land, don't have the resources, then we plant it for them. It's still their trees, they're geotagged, they own the trees, but we're just growing the trees for them. And so this is two ways that we help Filipinos to participate in this new opportunity. The 4 keys to Agarwood. So now I'll talk a little bit about some of the challenges and some of the main keys to success. There really are 4 primary keys to success. So the first is legal seedling source. So if you don't have legal seedlings, forget about it. You never have a business. There are plantations of Agarwood in the Philippines that are mature and beautifully grown, but were planted from seedlings that didn't come from a registered source, and they will never be able to secure a permit to legally harvest and legally export that, because that is the number 1 criteria for a legal Agarwood plantation. So it starts and ends with that. Luckily, there are accredited nurseries that have seedlings available, but this is an absolute non-negotiable. The second one is probably the easiest. It's the most forgiving. So in Malaysia, they call Agarwood a weed tree. Like, you can plant it just about anywhere and it'll grow. It'll be better in some locations. So it grows better in Bukidnon, say, than on the beach in Batangas. But I know people are planting on the beach in Batangas. It's there, but it's growing a bit more slowly. It will grow just about anywhere, but growing Agarwood in the right location with the right inputs and the right practices will give you faster growth, a shorter duration to inoculation and harvest. Inoculation is the term that refers to artificially injuring the tree, stimulating the tree to produce the resin. So what you do is you drill holes in the tree and then you inject liquid pathogen that sort of mimics what happens in nature. And this is really the key to unlocking success in Agarwood. And this is probably the most misunderstood aspect of Agarwood production. And the last one actually is a lot harder than people realize, and that is the market access. So just because you have Agarwood, it takes a very long time to build trust and confidence with the buyers. It's a very high value product, so there's a lot of people try to adulterate, and building trust and confidence in order to sell Agarwood takes a very, very long time. It's not turn around and get rich overnight. Okay, so inoculation. The tree needs that level of maturity before the inoculant will have a result that produces a commercial outcome. There are promoters of Agarwood who are talking about inoculating trees after 1 year, 2 years, things like this. Unfortunately, it's hype designed to, people don't like to wait. They don't want to wait 6 years, 7 years, 8 years for their trees if they can see their money out in 2 years or 3 years. So there are promoters of technologies and ideas that you can inoculate after a year or two. It's simply not correct. The 2 photos here on the left side for the audience. So we acquired a plantation in Malaysia last year. This is mature Agarwood trees, Aquilaria malacensis trees. So these trees are 7, 8, 9 years old. not yet inoculated, but ready for inoculation. And we inoculated those trees using 3 different inoculant technologies that are accredited in Malaysia, because we wanted to see the side-by-side performance of the 3 technologies, and also harvest after 12 months, 18 months, and 24 months after inoculation, so we could see the quality. On the left here, so this is after 6 months. We just did some testing to see how the inoculant was performing. So you can see here on the left, science-based proven inoculant. It's producing a very nice resin result. It's not ready for harvest, but it's producing the resin. So the inside of the tree is turning black. This has fragrance. The picture here in the middle, I wanted to demonstrate that you can inject anything inside these trees and get a response. So you can see there is still a response. I injected liquid organic fertilizer inside the tree because I wanted to prove that you can put anything inside there. So you can see there's a response. It's not as good as the science-based technology, but there is a response. The right here is not our inoculant and not our tree. It's an example of inoculation technologies that are being promoted, that just because there is a resin response, the indication is successful. But buyers are looking for as close to wild quality as possible. And so you can see unproven chemical formulation that's unacceptable to the market. But this is really the key to unlocking success from the Agarwood plantations, understanding the role that inoculation plays. We've licensed an inoculant that was developed by the University of Malaysia. It's called Udino. And what we're excited about here is there's a highly science-based approach to developing the inoculant. The quality of the inoculant from the University of Malaysia produces similar to a wild quality agarwood. And that is what the market wants. The biggest challenge is misinformation, because since we became the first company to get the license for legal agarwood production, there are others who are now involved in agarwood propagation and agarwood promotion. And sometimes they're interested in growing agarwood, other times they're interested in the business of promoting agarwood. And so misinformation is probably the biggest challenge, and this is why we're so visible and we're so active. We have a Facebook page, United Agarwood Planters. We're always posting informative videos, and we make series about misconceptions on agarwood just so that people can understand and have the right expectations when they plant agarwood. So if we can overcome the misinformation, then we can see a huge success for the industry. So, like I mentioned earlier, resin formation is not a guarantee of success. The quality matters. There's there's promotion of fast growth and perpetual harvest technology and all of this nonsense. This is agroforestry. It takes patience, it takes discipline, and it takes a structured approach. But do the right things, and you'll see a return in a good time frame. Easy money. The market's quite closed. Yes, there is a market. Yes, there are companies doing it successfully. But don't think that just by planting agarwood, turn around, close your eyes, 7 years later you're a millionaire. It doesn't work like that. The seedling species is key, but it's hard to confirm. It's not until the trees start to produce fruit that you can really confirm the species. You can't tell it from the leaves. We use DNA barcoding to make sure. We've also worked with UAPI on that. And the last one is the CITES permit is not a business. A CITES permit is something that allows you to export or import. People wave around a CITES permit like, I've been successful in agarwood, I've got a CITES. It's just a piece of paper that allows you to import or export. It doesn't mean you have a market. It doesn't mean you have a quality that has a buyer. It just means that DNR has said to you, okay, you can export. It comes from a legal source, doesn't mean that it's commercially viable. So you can find us, as I mentioned, on social media, IBABotanicals.com. There's some videos about more generally on the botanicals business. United Agarwood Planters on Facebook. And there's the contact details. Anybody who's interested to learn more, please don't hesitate to get in touch. We have We have a booth in the expo there. So, you know, if you have more questions, anything like that, some of my staff are there and they're very well informed, and I'm sure they can assist you there. So, thank you very much for your time, and I hope you found it interesting and informative. Thank you.
Awardee for his deep dive into the sustainable production and high value potential of agarwood, the world's most and the priciest wood. Our gratitude goes to the founder of Agarwood Philippines, Mr. Benjamin Mead.